10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to a special edition of the John DiVito Show. Today we're going to be talking about It's All About Your Perception. This will be another one of those quick 10 to 20 minute podcasts looking to improve people's lives during the month of December in this very difficult 2020. So sit back and enjoy, and I hope this show helps you out. All right. Hey, welcome to the John DiVito Show. It is Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. And this is one of those podcasts. I've been doing several of these during the month of December. And, let's face it, 2020 has been a very difficult year for everybody involved. We've had the pandemic, which has affected almost every family in this country and in the world on a lot of different levels. We've lost family members. We've been isolated from family. We've had people in our family get sick, and it's been a very, very difficult year for a lot of people. So, we also had, again, a very contested political race, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. It still hasn't been conceded. And we've got a country right now that is very separate. We're divided. So this has been a very difficult year for everybody. So I'm trying to find a way to make a positive difference in the lives of people throughout the month of December. I mean, December generally is a really nice month where you have Christmas, you have Hanukkah, you have Kwanzaa. You've got all these different holidays that we celebrate. And it's generally a time of the year when people spend a lot of time with their families, with their loved ones, exchanging gifts. And, this is, for me, one of those times of the year that I really love, because people generally do more random acts of kindness. They do nice things for other people. People seem happier. They seem kinder. And it really would be nice if the world was this way all the time. So, this has been a tough 2020, and I've been sending out some messages to people because I know right now there are a lot of people out there that are depressed, that feel hopeless, that are sad. And it's hard not to feel that way in this 2020 year. But I mean, the good news is there is light at the end of the tunnel. We do have a vaccine on the horizon. Hopefully that vaccine is going to be safe. We're in the middle of another wave right now of COVID. So, we are in kind of a difficult time where a lot of us are trapped inside now. I live in the Northeast, and, it gets very cold at this time of the year, and we get a lot of snow. So we spend a lot of time indoors. And, I think that is playing into, the pandemic again, just increasing in the transmission and things like that. So anyway, it's been a tough 2020, but the thing I want to talk about today is your perception of life and small events really is a determining factor of how you feel about yourself and how you feel about society and how you feel about your family, how you feel about your job. You can have many, many different perceptions. And this even kind of goes down to, whether or not you're going to be an optimistic or a pessimistic person in life. Like, here's an example. For me, I live in a very cold part of the country, like we talked about. We get a lot of snow here. Yesterday, we got, I think, close to a foot of snow. It snowed from the morning right until I went to bed, and we get a lot of snow, and it's cold. So for me, for many, many years, I would always complain about, I live in the Northeast. Why do I live here? The winter is miserable. I can't, I should move to Florida. I should move to California. And it would be a constant state of mind where I complained about the weather, and when you really think about it, here in New England, we get cold weather from sometimes November right through April. So we have, a substantial amount of the year, a good 4 months at least, where we have cold weather. We have a lot of snow. And for me, I was living a life where I was very negative about that all the time. And I would just complain and it would set my mindset. And literally for like 4 months, I would bunker down and just be unhappy, So it just was my perception of where I lived, the weather, the climate, and it turned me into kind of a bitter person during those months. So over the last couple of years, I've decided that, hey, I live in New England, I live in Massachusetts. It's cold 4 months out of the year. I've got to learn to change the way I perceive the winter, change the way I perceive where I live, because it's negatively affecting my personality and my mindset and it depresses me over the winter. So I made a conscious decision to stop hating winter. And now, when I look out at a snowstorm, I look at today. I mean, I wish I had a video. It's absolutely beautiful outside right now. It's a winter wonderland. It's absolutely beautiful. The snow's on the trees. And it just, looks like a scene out of any Christmas movie you've ever seen. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm sitting back and just very thankful for the fact that I live in a place where we have this type of beauty, out there in the world. And we're fortunate to live, about an hour and 10 minutes outside of Boston. So we're in a small town in the Worcester Hills of Massachusetts. So it's kind of like a mountainous region of central Mass. So even though I'm in Massachusetts, I'm in a pretty rural area, and we have like a ski mountain that's about 7 miles away from where I live. So in another attempt to enjoy the winter months, this year I went out and bought myself a season pass, a new set of skis. And, I haven't skied in probably 15 years. I did go once a couple weeks ago, and I was rusty. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit older now, and I haven't skied in quite some time, and I was rusty, but I didn't fall. So I did okay. So probably either today or sometime this week, I'm going to go out and I'm going to ski. We bought like a season pass where you can ski after 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 o'clock at night. They have lights at this mountain, so you can ski at night. And generally it's pretty slow at night. You just have mostly locals that live in the area that ski at night. So, I made a conscious decision that if I'm going to live here, which I am, then number one, I need to learn how to enjoy the winter months without being miserable for 4 months. I have to appreciate the beauty of that. And I'm going to try to embrace it by doing some activities in the winter that I enjoy. So for me right now, it's December and it's snowy and it's cold, but I'm okay with it. And I feel pretty good and I'm appreciating the beauty. And what I did was I changed my perception of how I viewed living in a cold climate. And because of it, I'm a happier person throughout the winter. So, we have a lot of power on our own to control the way we feel. And if you're caught up, I think, in the mindset where you're unhappy about certain things, maybe it's a job, you're unhappy with your job. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes it's hard to just change your perception if you have a job that's a miserable job. But you need to at least try to be optimistic going into that job every day and change your perception. And instead of, maybe assembling with the people that complain all the time in the office or wherever you work, change the group you hang out with and hang out with some people that are more positive about the company, about the job, and try to embrace what you do and do the best that you can. I think of stories like, you look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, I hate to say this because I'm a Larry Bird fan, but Michael Jordan was the best basketball player to ever play the game. And he was a guy that when he went out for his high school basketball team freshman year, he got cut from the team. Now, Michael Jordan's perception at that point could have been, well, I guess I'm just not a good basketball player. I'm not good enough to make the freshman team. So I guess I'm just going to maybe give up on basketball and try something else. I can't win. The coach is against me, whatever it may have been. But instead, Michael Jordan came back and he decided to become a better basketball player and obviously ended up becoming the best basketball player this world's ever seen. So, you look at Jordan's perception. His perception could have been, boy, I can't win. I'm not good. I'm just going to quit. And he didn't do that. He came back and fought twice as hard. And if you look at really any successful person in this life, I like to look at sports characters because I'm a big sports fan. You look at Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady is the perfect definition of a guy that has a positive perception of himself. In college, he didn't start until he was a senior, and he was playing behind a very good quarterback. Then he came to the NFL, was drafted at the very bottom of the NFL draft. His times and all the different evaluation tools were not good. And Tom Brady came in, was behind a franchise quarterback at the time, and Drew Bledsoe. And, he fought. He was positive. And it was funny. I still think of the story when he was drafted by Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. Tom Brady walked up to him after the draft, a young kid, and shook his hand and said, "Thank you for drafting me. I want to let you know that this is going to be the best decision you've ever made." I mean, talk about confidence, strong perception of yourself, and belief that you're going to achieve something. And what happened with Tom Brady? He became the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game. I know some San Francisco 49ers fans would probably disagree with me, but really it's indisputable at this point that Tom Brady was the GOAT. He was the greatest. And it was all because he had confidence in himself and he had a positive perception that he could succeed, even though he was drafted low, even though a lot of the things were against him. His times weren't great, his stats weren't great, he was slow, but he became great. And I think that you find that about a lot of people, where your own attitude, your own perception of a situation is something that either propels you forward or it holds you back. And if you have a negative perception of yourself, if you have a negative perception of your spouse, if you have a negative perception of your job, of your life, where you live, the fact that maybe you missed out on an opportunity, then you are going to most likely fail, and you're going to have a very negative perception of yourself, and it's probably going to lead to you being unhappy. So I think perception of situations, perception of yourself, perceptions of other people, perceptions of where you are in life, perceptions of your job, of your family, of your loved ones. It really comes down to you. It comes down to you. You need to internalize, you need to look at the way you think about things, and you need to change the way you perceive other situations. You've got to be positive. You've got to find a way to put the negativity away, and you've got to find a way to be positive. Now, I'm not saying that this is perfect for all situations. If you happen to be in an abusive relationship, and you're caught in a very difficult situation, I get it. I've experienced that. I've seen, my parents in that type of situation, and I know how hard it could be. But if you're caught in a very difficult situation, you need to, number one, again, change your perception of yourself, realize that you're worth better than that you need to find a way to get out of that relationship and protect yourself and protect your children and get away from the negative force in your life. So in order to do that, you have to change the perception of yourself where you believe you are worth something better than that. So even if you're caught in a bad situation or a bad relationship, your perception of yourself does matter, because the person that's abusing you is going to be the person that is going to look to chip away at your perception of yourself, right? And they're going to look to undermine your confidence and take away from you and control you and separate you from family members and friends. You can't let that happen. So I really believe that people having a negative perception about anything in life is a very dangerous road to go down. And you really have to change the way you think about things. You really have to change the way you think. If you believe that you weren't a good student in school and that makes you stupid, you're not stupid. There are a lot of people that were not good students in school that are very smart people. Did you know that Albert Einstein flunked out of school? So Albert Einstein, one of the, top geniuses in the history of our world, flunked out of school. And there are a lot of smart people that struggled in school. So, if you struggled in school, that doesn't mean that you're not a smart person. It just meant that they did not know how to teach you. And that was their failing, not yours. So you need to have a very different perception of yourself. You need to look in the mirror every day, tell yourself that you're proud of yourself, that you love yourself, that you're going to be happy where you live. You're going to be happy, with your family. And again, when I say you're going to be happy with your family, that's if your family is a positive thing. If you're caught in an abusive relationship, then you need to learn to build yourself up, get out of that relationship, and find a relationship that is going to celebrate you and make you happy or help you be happy. So you've got to have a positive perception of yourself and of any situation that you may be in. Now, I talked earlier about having a positive perception of your job. All right. Well, listen, if you go in every day and you're positive and your workplace is just a toxic environment, then you need to have the confidence enough and the perception of yourself that you can do anything in order to go out and find a new job that celebrates you personally and makes you feel happy and fulfilled in your life. If you have a dream that you want to go after, maybe you need to pay the bills during the day, do something on the side, try to fulfill a dream, have that positive perception, try something new. Don't be afraid. Go out and get it. In this life, we set limits for ourselves all the time. Oh, I'd love to be an actor, but I'm not special. I'm not good enough. I'd love to be a professional athlete, but I'm just not good enough. I'd love to be a doctor. I'd love to be a lawyer. I'd love to be whatever it is, a cafeteria worker. I'd like to be independent. I'd like to own my own business. Whatever it may be, you need to have confidence in yourself and you need to believe in yourself that you can accomplish anything. And that all starts with your perception of yourself and your belief that you are able to do things in life that previously you thought you could not do. Okay. So remember, this is going to be the end of the podcast. I'm at about 16 minutes. I like to keep them all below 20 minutes, but remember that you need to perceive yourself in a positive way. And if there are things that you're thinking about negatively in your life, like me living in a cold climate, you need to change your perception. I live here. I need to make the best of this. I need to be happy in the wintertime and not waste 4 months of my year of my year every year complaining that I'm miserable because it's cold. And here, I look out, like I said today, there's snow on the trees. We get a foot of snow. It's beautiful. We're living in a winter wonderland, and I'm happy. I feel good about it. I'm embracing this weather. I'm embracing the beauty of it. And I think you need to learn how to do that as a person. And we all do. I mean, don't think I'm preaching to you. I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying to share some of the life experiences that I've had. Again, I'm 52 years old. Some of you are younger than I am. It doesn't mean I'm any smarter than anybody else. It just means I'm older. So that's kind of where I come up with a lot of these different things. So anyway, try to change your perception. Try to work on your confidence. Remember every day that you need to love yourself. And if you love yourself first, then you're going to be able to love other people and love what you do and love your life. If you don't love yourself first, then it's very difficult to be positive in any aspect of your life. Okay. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Sunday. That is it for me today. You can check out this podcast on all the different platforms. And remember, the John DeVito Show, I love you all. I appreciate each and every one of my listeners. And if you ever need anything, if you need help, if you need someone to talk to, just email me at thejohndevitoshow@gmail.com. I respond to all emails and I'd be happy to talk to you. Okay. So have a great Sunday, everybody. Love you all and take care.